You ever get those ridiculous social media scams where people pretend to be somebody you're friends with and tell you you can make a lot of money? I know I do. It's why I'm very excited to partner with today's sponsor, Aura. Aura is an easy to use app that essentially packages a bunch of services to stay safe online all in one. Aura protects you from scammers and hackers. They scan the web for all sorts of data leaks and alert you as soon as they find anything. Aura is like the offensive line for a quarterback, consistently offering you protection from suspicious and malicious activity. They have a VPN built in that keeps your browsing history and personal information safe and encrypted. They'll even alert you if someone's trying to open up a credit card or a loan in your name. Did I mention they protect all your devices from viruses, malware, spyware, and any other things so the bad guys can't break in? Aura can even manage what your kids do on their devices. You can set limits and restrict them from specific apps. They have a password manager as well, so you don't have to rely on an outdated Rolodex or that sticky note that's been on your desk forever. There are apps that do all of these things, but there isn't one that tackles everything the way Aura does, which is why I say Aura is a 5-man offensive line and you're the quarterback. So head on over to aura.com/JKB. You can find it in the description and start your free trial today. All right. Welcome back, folks. This is JE Live. We're doing it a little bit later than I wanted to, but we are doing it, trying to keep the consistency going. The Rams did bring back Michael Hoecht. They did tender him. He was an exclusive rights free agent, so he's going to stay with the Rams. He's going to be back for 2023. And they did, unfortunately, which didn't make the headline, but they did, unfortunately, opt to not tender defensive lineman Marquise Copeland. So he will enter free agency. And I'm not going to lie to you, I kind of hate it. Just in the effort of full transparency. Hope everyone is doing well tonight. It's 11:10 on the East Coast, so it's 8:10, probably the majority of the audience here. And it's filling up nicely. Please be sure to hit the thumbs up for the video. It really does help me out, gets people in here. And also be sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. So thumbs up and like, subscribe if you haven't already. I'm going to be answering questions. The Browns apparently are expected to sign former Vikings defensive tackle Dalvin Tomlinson. I just got that news, so I figured I'd just say it. Yeah, the Rams, people keep asking me, hey, Jake, are the Rams going to sign anybody? Should I even bother being on Twitter right now trying to find any sort of information about the Rams? I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think the Rams are going to sign anybody anytime soon. Maybe the second wave of free agency or the third wave, but they do not have a lot of space, okay? They just don't have cap space. They chose to do this. They knew what they were doing because clearly, 2024, everyone keeps pointing to 2024. They'll have more cap space to do things and whatnot. But right now, they're kind of eating it, right? And yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I'm definitely not the biggest fan of letting Copeland go, but thank God they brought back Hoecht. I'm very excited about Michael Hoecht and what he can do in a defense, given the fact that he was already 300 pounds. Being a defensive tackle and basically transferring over to the outside linebacker position and playing a hell of a game, at that position, whether it be, the Broncos game or, both of the Seattle games, he really stepped up towards the end of the year down the stretch. And I'm excited for that continued development because what they're going to do is he is going to probably drop down to, I was told 275. So, obviously, I think he's 310. So, that's quite a drop. But if he could play at 275, he was already incredibly athletic at 300 plus. But if he drops to 275, that is a great size for him to play on the outside. And he doesn't need to start. They could go out and they could, get guys in the draft. And if they believe that they can start, then Hoecht becomes a really good situational pass rusher. But right now, they had to make sure they brought a guy like that back. Pretty much he is the first domino to fall as far as a guy that they're going to bring back in 2023 that was potentially going to be a free agent. So the little things, am I right? But I don't want to discredit Michael Hoecht because I will say he has really impressed, not just me, but just the people I talk to around the building. He has just really, really impressed the coaching staff, the brass. And of course, you're going to bring a guy like that back because, well, I mean, Copeland also, I would have thought you would have brought back, but Hoyt's not even going to cost you $1 million with that tender. So it works out well for the Rams. They're still, I believe they're still around $3 million. They haven't cut Bobby Wagner yet for whatever reason, but they're going to. And so that will put them around the $3.2 million cap mark. So they have $3.2 million in space, according to Spotrac once that deal goes through. So, we'll see how long that takes. I'd imagine it'll be soon. And then really the last domino to fall before we can really start to see any sort of movement or anything like that is going to be Allen Robinson. The Rams are going to try to trade him. If they can't trade him, they're going to have to wait until June 1st. After June 1st, then they'd have to trade him. They can't cut him. They would absolutely cripple their cap, and they would be absolutely screwed if they went and did that. They'd have negative cap savings. So it would basically take them out of the current, it's still a hole, but like the current situation they're in is that they finally got under the cap, based on everything that they're going to do. They finally get under the cap around 3 million. You cut, let's look at, anyway, let me bring it up because I want to tell you guys exactly what the number would be and why you can't do anything with Allen Robinson's deal right now, except for trade him. So if you were to cut him, let's just say you cut him right now. So, including the Bobby Wagner move, it's around 3.2, like I said, you cut Allen Robinson, you save negative $8.4 million and you now have negative $5 million in cap space. So the only way to make this thing work is you either keep him, which they're not going to do, or you trade him pre-June 1st, right? That's certainly an option here. He has an out after this year. If you trade him pre-June 1st, you're going to incur $11.2 million dead money, but you will have $6.8 million in cap savings. However, if you wait, and the Rams don't want to wait, they want to get this contract off the books. So 2024, they are looking at a clean slate. That's why they're getting rid of these guys now. I'm not a huge fan of it, but at least I understand the process. I understand where where their mind is at. You can't be a team that's looking towards 2024 and is all about saving as much cap as possible for 2024. But then you trade Allen Robinson post June 1st, which then adds more dead cap into 2024. Because the whole point is that if you trade Allen Robinson before June 1st, nothing transfers over to 2024. So you incur that $11.2 million in dead cap money, but next season you do not have dead cap in 2024. So that's a big thing. So that's the next domino to fall. That's really what I would say. If you're waiting on anything, you're waiting on Allen Robinson to be traded. It sucks he has to get traded, but they've put themselves in such a bad spot. They have to do it. Now, I mean, what they could have done, and we talked about this, I said they had a pathway to, $60 million this year if they wanted to. There's a lot of teams all over the league that are not willing to admit defeat like the Rams are. And they're going not all in, but you have Josh Allen and Von Miller taking restructures. So, they gave the Bills $32 million. You had a bunch of restructured deals for the Cowboys. These teams are trying to free up a ton of money, and the Rams are just currently not in that business right now. They're trying to get rid of as much money as possible and look forward to the future. And to me, this is the first actual rebuild that they're going through. I'm probably not going to use the term remodel anymore. I find it incredibly annoying when it comes out of my mouth. When I see it, it's not a remodel. Okay, it is a rebuild. Now, you may think that you can compete on the offensive side while rebuilding. That doesn't make it a remodel. A remodel of a house isn't when you take it, off the studs. It isn't when you change everything, I said soft reboot. I wouldn't even say that because a soft reboot would have entailed that they do some of these deals after June 1st and they get, some cap dollars, they get some cap coverage in 2023 where they can go out and just change the casting, right? I mean, that's essentially what I meant by the soft reboot. So you go out and you spend all that money that you got in return from the Jalen Ramsey trade, and you spend all that money out and you just distribute it to other positions. That's not happening this year because they really are not going to be getting that much money in return for trading away Jalen Ramsey. What I will say is, just in case you guys didn't know, because I think it's definitely worth mentioning, Jalen Ramsey's contract in 2024 and 2025 were fully covered. I don't know if I made that clear, but they are fully covered. I was asked that a couple times, and the Dolphins are taking on all of that contract. So essentially, looking at 2024, they shouldn't have any dead money in accordance to Jalen Ramsey, right? I'm looking at it right now. They're not going to have any dead money in 2024. As it stands right now, there's no dead money. There will be dead money, of course, for Bobby Wagner. But for 2024, Jalen Ramsey, no dead money. It's completely taken off the books. The Dolphins absorbed all of that. Not in 2023. That's when the Rams are paying for it. 2023 dead cap, they are incurring 19.6. They're incurring 19 million. So basically, in total, the Rams are taking on $43.2 million in dead money. So if you're wondering why the Rams have no cap, this is why. Because they have these ridiculous cap hits. I mean, you have 43 million of your cap is taken up in dead money, as in guys that aren't on the roster. A'Shawn Robinson, you're paying 1.52. He's a free agent. That's just the way the contract worked out. You still paying Andrew Whitworth a restructure bonus that you put together in his contract. You're paying him $2 million this year. You're paying Leonard Floyd $19 million, and you're paying Jalen Ramsey $19.6. So they don't have any dead money next year. They will for Bobby Wagner, but they don't have it as of right now until they cut him. So that'll be really it, and then they'll have probably some Allen Robinson dead money. I can't imagine anybody's going to take on that full thing. So yeah, you have that. For those of you that are wondering, like in the past, the Rams had $11.9 million in dead money with Robert Woods last year. They had $2.1 million with Andrew Whitworth. They had $2 million with Troy Hill. They had $1 million with Bobby Evans. They had $1 million with Terrell Lewis. They had $920K with Darrell Henderson, $942K with Johnny Hecker, and in total, they had $26.6 million in dead money in the 2022 season. You go back to 2021, you look at the dead money there, and Jared Goff's dead money was still on the cap. So the Rams ate Jared Goff's $24.7 million. Contrary to popular belief, the Lions didn't take on the entire deal, okay? They did not do that. The Rams still ate $24.7 million. They ate Todd Gurley in 2021. They ate Todd Gurley's 8.4. They ate Deshaun Jackson's 3.4. Leonard Floyd, because of the signing bonus that they did like a restructure with voided years, they took on 3.3. Michael Brocker's 2.6, and in total, you end up with 49.4. So in 2021, the Rams had $49.4 million tied up in dead money. You look at 2020 now. This is when you went out and you traded Brandon Cooks. The Rams incurred a dead money cap hit of $21.8 million. So you do have that in 2020. So $21.8 million in 2020. The Rams ate $9.2 million of Todd Gurley's. Clay Matthews was $2 million, right? So in total, $38.4. Basically, the reason I'm showing you this and going through it is because it's to show you that the Rams have just eaten a lot of cap space over the years. So that's where it stands. I won't go too far back at this point. You get my point here. Going back to 2020, I think is enough. But yeah, they're going to have dead money with these deals, and in 2023 they're going to be eating $43.2 million and then some. So it is going to be a decent amount. and the next year, the hope is that they're going to be below 20 million for the first time in a few years. And, we'll see what ends up happening. I mean, right now, if you look, that's Spotrac. If you look at over the cap, I believe over the cap has the Rams at $50 million for next year, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. So over the cap here, they have 2.7 million negative. That's how over the cap has it. Bobby Wagner's still on the contract. He's still under contract on this, so they haven't done the release there. But 2.7 million as we speak. Over the cap has them over the cap. And then 2024, the Rams have $50 million, $50.8 million in cap space, according to over the cap, which that's not including Bobby Wagner, which they will be saving. Obviously, they'll be saving money there. That's not including potentially a Joseph Noteboom cut. That's not including Brian Allen potentially getting cut. That's not including a Cooper Kupp restructure and Aaron Donald retirement. All of that could get up to $100 million in cap space if that were to happen. So the Rams are clearly looking, moving forward. Now, the problem I have here is that you look and it's like they don't have a lot of players on the roster currently. Right now, they have a total of 42 once they get rid of Bobby Wagner. In 2024, they'll have a total of 29. And in 2025, they're expected to have a total of 16, which means there's only one guy under contract in 2027, and that is Rob Havenstein. And I don't even believe he's under contract. I believe that's just a void year. So the Rams have nobody under contract in 2027, and they will have, we don't know because the cap has to be figured out by that, but they'll probably have around $250 million in cap space until, of course, they sign people to that length. So, looking at 2024, 50.8, 2025, 133, 2026, 215. 2026, the only guys under contract are Cooper Kupp, Aaron Donald, Matthew Stafford. Aaron Donald, that's a void year. So Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford, Bobby Wagner, but he'll be cut, Rob Havenstein, and that's it. So you're absolutely right. It's going to be UDFA crazy. And that's the thing that I was getting at. I know people on Twitter didn't like my joke that I made about UDFA is chomping at the bit. But I mean, when you think about it, how else are the Rams going to get some talent in here? I mean, they're absolutely going to go UDFA crazy. And when you think about it, I mean, if you're a UDFA, if you're an undrafted rookie free agent and you're trying to get your opportunity to play somewhere, why wouldn't you want to go to the Rams if you're a defensive UDFA? Makes a lot of sense, does it not? I mean, you get playing time, you get a chance to play in LA, you get a chance to play with that coaching staff. You're getting a chance. I think that's the big thing. Anybody who doesn't get drafted, they just want to get a chance because they don't want to be the guy that gets left behind. Oh, I didn't get drafted, so now, my entire reputation is busted, right? I have to earn my keep in training camp, whatever. I'm always going to have that reputation of, just a camp leg or a camp arm or a camp body. And it's hard to kind of break away from that. We see it. It happens. Like my co-host Cameron Lynch made the Rams 53-man roster, but it is not simple. It's not like you don't just snap your fingers and it's like it doesn't just happen. So there's going to be a hefty market for the UDFAs for the Rams, and they're going to need it because they currently can't even field a 53-man roster as it stands right now. And when you think about it, they have 43. Then they cut Bobby Wagner, they're down to 42. They trade Allen Robinson, they're down to 41. So they got 41 guys on the roster. That's not including the fact that they already got rid of TJ Carter. So that's 40 there. And then let's see here. Do they have them? Copeland anywhere? I think they already removed Copeland. So yeah, it'd be like 40 guys on the roster, and you have barely over enough cap space to make it under. That's the thing here. Is a Stafford trade to the Jets a real possibility if Jets don't land Rodgers? So this is fascinating because I've actually been asked this. If anything falls through with Aaron Rodgers, I've been asked this quite a bit already. could you see the Jets going after Matthew Stafford? Now, mainly it's been Jets fans asking me this because, believe it or not, Jets fans, and if you guys are in here, appreciate you. But believe it or not, Jets fans really like Matthew Stafford. They respect him, and they wouldn't mind him as a backup option if they missed out on Aaron Rodgers. And honestly, if he wasn't hurt, I would say Matthew Stafford, it makes more sense to go after than Aaron Rodgers. But there's more to it than just him being banged up. There's more to it than just trading him, right? Because now we're in 2023. He's got a good cap figure at $20 million. The problem is, though, if you try to trade Matthew Stafford, and we'll trade him to the Jets right now in this hypothetical. So you try to trade him, and guess what's going to happen? You're going to incur negative $28 million in dead money. So you will have negative $29.7 million in cap space. The league will not allow you to do this. So that's the thing here. So there has to be a give and a take, because if you're trading Matthew Stafford away to the Jets, like, you're going to have to give up picks with Stafford so the Jets can take on that contract. You're not going to really get anything in return. It would be a salary dump for the guy who just won the Super Bowl. Literally last calendar year, Matthew Stafford was holding up the Lombardi Trophy. I don't know, man. That doesn't sit right with me. I'm not a fan of dumping him like he's nothing. I don't think it's that simple. And, when you look, it's really not that simple. They're not going to be able to do it. It's just not a trade that's going to be able to get done. Maybe next year, but let's look. What happens if they trade him in 2024? Let's look. A base trade. Obviously, you can get into the nitty gritty, but what is a base trade look? His cap dollar number goes up to 49.5 next year. You can base salary restructure him $22.3 million, but now you're pushing that money down the road that you'll have to pay. So what do you do with Stafford's deal? Can you trade him next year? And obviously it wouldn't be the Jets, right? At this point, who knows who you're trading him to? We'll just pick a random team like the Tennessee Titans. Okay, so we got the Tennessee Titans here. Now you trade him to the Tennessee Titans, and it saves you $13.5 million in cap space. Now, you do incur dead cap hit, right? You incur $36 million in dead money the moment you do that in 2024. But the thing here is that you simply put cannot trade him this year. It's not realistic. It's really just, you would have to do some crazy stuff to the point where, let's be honest, it doesn't benefit the Rams. All it does is get his cap number off but now you don't have a quarterback. So now you have another hole. That's the big issue that I have with these moves, is that you're creating holes. Now you need another corner. Now you need another linebacker. Now you need another pass rusher. You already needed pass rushers, but then when you get rid of Leonard Floyd and you don't get anything in return, now you need like two. You need to draft at least two, maybe even three. So it's one of those things, man. I appreciate you bringing it up, just because I wanted to show people, or tell people, because you guys aren't seeing the screen that I'm showing you. But it's not like, as soon as you trade Stafford, the moment you trade Stafford, it is a $36 million dead cap in 2024, and you save $13.5 million. So that is possible in 2024 with a big hit. But if you do it in 2023, like, let's just say we trade him in the Jets. Let's go back to this. 2023, what happens? The Rams immediately $48 million in 2023 dead cap money. So the total would now be in the it would be more than that. It'd be in the 70 million range for dead money that the Rams would be paying out this year. That's insane. So you just can't afford to do it this year. I mean, never say never. Like I always say, never say never. But, it's not as simple as, we'll just trade Stafford. Nope. You'll be negative 29 million. You'll have negative 29 million in cap space. You'll give up 48 million just like that. If Stafford retires, I can tell you exactly what it's going to be. So let's go to Stafford's, his page here. So if Stafford were to retire, he would be owed, let's see. So in 4 days, his roster bonus for 2025 is guaranteed. This contract is kind of ridiculous. So as soon as 317 hits, 2023, he's got 57 million fully guaranteed. So he got the 63 million guaranteed at signing. He had another 57 million guaranteed on 3/17/2023. That's an option bonus plus a 2024 salary fully guaranteed. So injury guaranteed, regardless if he gets hurt, he's guaranteed. So you got the option bonus at 26 million. And then you got the 2024, and you have him retiring in 2024. So if he retires in 2024, I'm assuming you mean going into the season. So after 2023, then he is owed. I mean, honestly, he'd still be owed a lot of money. So if he retires in 2024, he'd still be owed like $12 million. And then 2025, he would be owed $5 million. And then 2026, okay, so you'd be fine with 2026. It wouldn't happen. But 2025 is guaranteed March 17, 2023. So, yeah. It's you're going to be paying a lot of money. Rams threw money out like it was nothing, and they're going to have to pay for it. I mean, that's basically what happened, unfortunately. Yeah, even if he gets hurt, he's guaranteed a lot of funds. A lot of funds. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it was already somewhat spicy for sure. Yeah, so Jimmy G's deal is a 1-year deal. I know he signed for whatever he signed for, but they have an out after the season. So if it doesn't work out, they can easily get out of that deal. I wouldn't say that. It's just, Matt Gay to the Colts. Where do you see that? I don't see that anywhere. Yeah, I don't see Matt Gay to the Colts anywhere. Nope. Oh, Peter Schrager said it? Well, then it's definitely true because Schrags knows his thing. Yeah, he's gone. That's a bummer. So the Aaron Rodgers trade, he's holding it up. He won't make up his mind. Kind of annoying. Yeah. I mean, it's very like almost done, I would imagine. It's getting to the point where all signs are pointing to him going to the Jets, but it hasn't happened yet. Trey Wingo might have gotten a little too ahead of the thing. I mean, I think they can too, just because of how bad the NFC is, I think the NFC is so bad. If you get an offense, even if your defense is 31st in the league or 32nd or whatever, if you have a good offense, you'll be fine. And by fine, I mean you can get the 7th seed. I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl. But if they're buying into this offense, you know, if that's what they're doing, then let's see. That's a good question. We'll see. It's the biggest contract for a kicker in NFL history. Oh my God. That's more than $5 million a year. Hold on, let me see here. All right, let's do the they already got the compensatory picks up. So, what does this do? Let's look. What did Chris Mannert sign for? $3 million. Okay, so he's more than that. So let's see. Raheem Nunez Roches. What did he sign for? I'm looking at the compensatory formula. We got $4 million. Okay, so Matt Gay right now, and keep in mind, things can really change. But as it stands right now, Matt Gay is probably going to give the Rams a 5th round pick. That's, or sorry, 6th round pick. That's what I'm seeing here. Yep. So 6th round pick in all likelihood for Matt Gay. So that sucks. That's a good comp pick, though, to get a 6th rounder for a kicker that you signed off of, like, I don't know. They got it through waivers, I think. What was Justin Tucker's contract? I'll look it up. One sec. Justin Tucker contract. I won't keep talking about the kickers because I know people will start leaving. So Justin Tucker was 4 years, $24 million. Was guaranteed $14 million at signing. Let's see. Why can't I find it anywhere? It's the biggest deal ever for a kicker in free agency. Okay, so that makes I see the word usage. That's going to be the word usage that they use. Justin Tucker got paid more, but Justin Tucker did not get paid in free agency. It was a re-signing, right? It was a contract extension. So there you go. Okay, that makes sense. I had to look that one up because I'm like, wait a minute. Tucker, yeah, you're right. Tucker got paid more, but because Matt Gay got 4 years, 22.5, and Tucker got 4 years, 24. It makes sense, though. Think about this. The Rams don't really care about the defense. Like, they're letting all these guys go, right? Why would they care about kicker? Like, if they think they can just develop guys, they can develop defensive players. They found Matt Gay in free agency. Like, no one wanted him. So if they can do that, then I'm sure like they'll do that again. Now, I'm not saying I agree with it. I think it's dumb because we know, look at what the Rams did, right? The Rams drafted a kicker who I didn't want. No one wanted, and Sam Sloman. And he, doinked, 5 kicks off the uprights? He was horrible. And then they got, They didn't get Matt Gay immediately. They got Cairo Santos, I think, and he was okay, but I think he was decent. He was good. But like Matt Gay has been unbelievable. He has been so huge for the Rams. He's made so many clutch kicks. He made a huge kick in the Super Bowl. He made a huge kick in the NFC title game. He hit the game winner in the divisional round. Rams don't win. Sam Ficken. The Rams don't win the Super Bowl without Matt Gay. I don't know. I don't hate it it sucks, but I understand, like, if they're not going to bring back Jalen Ramsey, if they're going to trade him away, if they're not going to keep Leonard Floyd, if they're not going to keep guys that are like impact defensive players, they're not going to go out of their way to keep Matt Gay. That was never happening. But to not tender him was stupid because he went to free agency and got paid like this because the Rams didn't tender him. So Jordan said, as reported previously, not competing in that game money market means the Rams will look at cheaper vets and draft UDFA for kicker. Riley Dixon, long snapper, Matt Orzek are also impending free agents. Huge task ahead for new special teams coordinator Chase Blackburn and assistant Jeremy Springer. Yeah, that's really annoying. But like I said, I can't hate on him for it. That's a lot of money for a kicker to make, but he deserves it. I'm happy for him. Yeah. Man. Hendon Hooker probably in the third, but I think Hendon Hooker is going to go in the second. He's interviewing very well. I think he's going to surprise people where he goes. I don't think many people are going to see it coming, but I think Hendon Hooker is going to go probably in the second round. And if it's late second, fine, but I think he goes in the second round. So will the Rams spend a second round pick on him? I don't know. But I think that's what it's going to cost. I do think that's what it'll cost. I'll be honest, I feel like right now the Rams' most likely option, it's either Jake Haener or I'd say Jaron Hall. Those are the two most likely options, I think. I think Bennett is also in play, Kareem. Absolutely. I think Stetson Bennett's absolutely in play. But I think like if they're looking for a guy that they could develop into a franchise quarterback that's younger, I think Jaron Hall makes sense. Jake Haener, I feel like, is kind of similar to John Wolford in that sense. So I don't know if they would go that route. I don't know. I mean, I think Bennett would be a good backup. Duggan isn't a great thrower of the football, though. That's my concern. Like, I watch Jaron Hall, and I'm like, okay, that dude can spin it. Duggan is really fast, though. You know, and I don't mean any disrespect towards Jake. I actually really like Jake Haener. It's just he's similar in game style to like when John Wolford played that first year with the Rams. Well, I'll say this right now, okay? Teams will be interested in drafting a quarterback in the second round, and here's why. The guy who just started in the Super Bowl was a second round pick, okay? Jalen Hurts. So second round quarterbacks exist. They can work in the NFL. I believe Derek Carr was a second round quarterback. Like, there will be a team that is interested in Hendon Hooker in the draft and we'll pick him in the second, you know? But here's the problem. So as much as I'd like Baker back, it's not realistic. They don't have cap space. They're not going to be able to pay him $8 million a year or whatever, right? And in addition to that, the Bucs, they want to start him. They want to have him compete against Kyle Trask for the starting role, which pretty much tells me they want him to be the starter. So that means they're going to pay him, you know, and I think that's going to be hard to get involved with if you're the Rams. That's not a market that you're going to find easy to get into. You don't have the money for it, you know? So, yeah, we'll see. It's going to be tough. Definitely going to be tough. Yeah, I would never tank. Personally, I would never tank. You can't win a Super Bowl with this team, but you could potentially go to the playoffs with this team. I'm not tanking. No way. Here's the thing. You never get away with it. One. And two, they're not bad enough. So even if they tried to, they wouldn't be able to tank. They win 2 of the first 4 games or whatever. If they win 2 games, they're done. They're done. Caleb Williams, okay, is going number 1 overall. You can't trade up for him. So this is not Jared Goff all over again. Jared Goff was not a generational talent. I'm sorry. I don't care how much you like him. He's not a generational talent. I liked Wentz better as for a prospect, but neither of them were generational. Like Caleb Williams, the way people talk about him, you get that generational vibe. Now, watching him, I think he's one of the closest things I've seen to Patrick Mahomes. He and Anthony Richardson are very close to what Mahomes brings to the table. Richardson's more athletic, but Caleb Williams is very similar to Mahomes in the way he plays. So we'll see what ends up happening. I thought something else popped up on my feed. Yeah. Anyway, he's really good. I mean, I'm a USC fan, so I've watched a lot of him, but he's really good. The obvious tank, I think. Have we seen an obvious tank job before in the NFL? I'm going to look that up. Who was the last team to tank? Okay. There are rules to keep NFL teams from intentionally losing. So NFL teams, typically speaking, don't tank. Other sports, they do. But here's the thing, though, okay? NBA, they have the lottery, okay? They have the lottery, so you can't tank, right? It stops you from tanking, basically. I mean, you could still tank. You could get in the lottery, but it's not like you have a guaranteed selection if you tank. It's not like you're going to get the Wembanyama guy if you tank, right? They have the NBA lottery for that reason, the NHL lottery, right? So then you look at baseball, and you're like, okay, baseball has fully guaranteed contracts. So here's why the NFL doesn't tank. Here's why teams don't tank, players don't tank, because there's too much at stake. It's a dangerous sport. You're putting your body on the line. It is a disrespectful thing to tank. And furthermore, there are a lot of these, veteran guys, we call them mercenaries in the NFL, that will sign for 1 year, $2 million. And, they want to start. Maybe you're talking about a Christian Kirksey here and Klein there, AJ Klein, James Laurinaitis at the end of his career. These are like mercenary. Like, they're going to find a team to sign with where they can play and they make pennies, but they're going to play and then try to boost their value so they can get a nice contract. This actually happened with DeMario Davis. Some people thought his career was over, and then he went to the Saints and became a star, right? So here's the deal. If you tank, as a player, that hurts you. So you got to get everybody on board. And I'm telling you, these guys are playing for their lives. They're not going to get on board with tanking. So at the end of the day, no, I don't think any NFL team tanks. I think in the MLB, it's different. Hey, I signed on the dotted line, so now I'm owed all this money. Guaranteed. So yeah, in the MLB, if you want to sit your guys or whatever, they don't care. They're not playing a dangerous sport for the most part. I mean, you could say throwing, 95 mile an hour fastball at your chin becomes pretty dangerous. I played it, but it's not football. And furthermore, the contracts are fully guaranteed. So it's not like these veterans are like, oh crap, I need my money. I can't tank. You can absolutely tank in baseball. And we see it. It's called the trade deadline, right? You know how we know the NFL, there's no tanking in the NFL? Because when do we see the trade deadline have activity? This past year, it was surprising how much activity there was, but guys weren't tanking, right? So think about this. Guys aren't tanking. Then you look at baseball, and you go to the trade deadline, and the Pirates are giving away their entire team, right? Diamondbacks, their entire team. Marlins, entire team. Orioles, before they became good, entire team. Just giving it away at the deadline. That's tanking. That is tanking. But also keep in mind, draft picks in MLB, they're not the same. The MLB draft is so long. There's so many rounds. You could argue teams are tanking, but the draft isn't big enough to really even care. And that's why it happens, and they get away with it because it's just whatever. I agree. I think tanking is a coward thing. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know who is realistic. I look at guys like Fant, and I looked at, let's talk about it. Mike White. What'd I say? He'd get $3 million a year. He got $8 million a year today. He is now a Miami Dolphin, just like that. Boom. Done. The Rams weren't paying that. And if he's getting $8 million, then what's Baker getting? Baker's completely priced out at that point. So you look at potentially a Nate Herbig or, Fant. Those are the only guys I'm like, okay, maybe the Rams grab, but I'm not feeling confident about the Rams getting really anybody. That doesn't mean they won't get anybody. I'm just not feeling confident about anybody that they'll end up getting. It's just, I don't know. Don, thank you so much for donating. Appreciate you. It's not. What's up, Nolan? How good is Drake May? I haven't really watched Drake May, so I couldn't really tell you. I don't think he, like, from what I've seen, he doesn't come off like he's generational. He comes off like he's probably a pretty darn good prospect, but to be determined. That's the thing. I think they're going to go in-house. I mean, it's going to be hard enough to field a roster as it is. UDFAs, draft picks. They got 11, you know. Arch Manning has not even played a game in college yet, so I'd imagine he's pretty far out. He still has to, keep in mind, he has to play either red shirts and then he's a sophomore like Richardson, or he doesn't redshirt and he leaves his junior year. Until the NFL changes it, that's how it is. You can only leave your junior year or redshirt sophomore season. That's the earliest you can leave. I am curious. Are they going to change that anytime soon? I thought they were. I'm going to look that up. See, on this show, we look up things we don't know. So, let's see. Will the NFL draft change the declare rule? The underclassmen rule? Declare rule. Let's see. Underclassmen must be out of high school for at least 3 years before they can request the NFL's approval for special draft eligibility. Sophomores can only declare if they are a redshirt. Juniors can declare. So I couldn't tell you, but you develop that reputation, and yeah, you're it's going to continue to happen. You know, that's the problem. Yeah. I mean, I still got to catch up. I'm doing the edge defenders right now. I'm doing all that work. So I'll start coming out videos on those. And once I catch up, I'll feel good about doing a community mock. We'll do at some point next month, I would say. What was I going to say? Community mock draft next month. I don't know how many of you guys, just show of hands. And by doing that, I mean the poll here I'm going to put together. How many of you are interested in Okay, I'm curious. Yes, we were doing the draft show. So how many of you are interested in March Madness? I'm very curious because I was thinking about doing a live bracket thing where I just go through the bracket and, you know, kind of break down my thoughts. But I'm curious what you guys think. $22 votes. We're pretty split. I mean, for the most part, it's a football channel, but we are a sports channel as well, as you guys know. And okay, me just took the lead. Good participation. Appreciate that, guys. Be sure to the like, also known as the thumbs up button, if you are in the mobile chat. Just I do think you do this, you know, the thing with your finger, the swipe down, and then it'll just go back to the video, and then you just click on it, It's to like the bottom left-hand corner. Awesome. Love losing my voice. I can guarantee OBJ is not coming back to the Rams unless something big changes. He's asking for too much money, and the Rams barely have any money. So, I mean, Coward says they're going more offensive, and I kind of see what he's talking about. So that makes sense. What's up? How we doing? Yes, please hit the like button. Really does help me out. We're at 82. We got 183 people in here. It's past midnight. Love to see it. Keep the voting going. I'm going to be so here's the plan. This week, tomorrow, Alexis and I are interviewing a running back prospect that I've talked about on here before, that I've seen people in here are like a fan of. I've seen it before. So we're talking with him tomorrow, I believe. We're doing the live, not live, but we're doing the interview for our shows and whatnot. And then what are we doing? What was I going to say? Totally forgot what I was going to say. What the hell was I going to say? Wednesday, I'm free. Like, I don't have anything planned. So Wednesday, we'll probably go live. I'd like to go live tomorrow as well. But I have the interview tomorrow. Then Thursday is going to be a busy day. So Cam and I record Believe in Rams. And Alexis and I are doing a football show live. And that'll be Thursday night. I think around 8:30. So we'll be doing that. And then Friday, I feel like something is happening Friday and I'm just blanking on it. So, oh yeah, something is happening. So I will not be here to start the day. So, I mean, most of the time I don't go live at noon or whatever, but March Madness kicks off on Thursday and Friday, whatnot. And Friday, I'm actually going to 2 games with Blaine Grisack, my buddy. Cheers, mates. He says the Miller Lite beer. So Friday, I'm going to see UConn take on Iona, and then St. Mary's versus VCU. So I'm very excited about that. I've never been to a college basketball game. I've definitely never been to March Madness before, but it's coming to my neck of the woods here in the Albany area. So I will be going to that. I'm very excited about that. Blaine and I are going. It's a 2:00 game, I think a 4:00 game. And then I'll probably have some content later on that night or whatever. But, should be a lot of fun. Maybe if I can, I might bring my camera and do a little bit of a vlog. I don't know. Probably not. But we'll see. So UConn, Iona, and then St. Mary's, or actually before UConn and Iona, St. Mary's and VCU play. So that's going to be dope. I cannot wait for that. Oh, you're a VCU fan? Yeah, as a Kansas fan, I don't exactly love VCU, but I can tell you what. I'm over it. It happened a while ago. As long as VCU doesn't upset Kansas this year, I'm good. I am from New York. I live here right now currently. Yep. I am. So here's what we'll do. Wednesday's wide open, right? So we'll probably have some news, I would imagine, maybe an Allen Robinson trade. I don't know. We'll cover that. But what I am going to do, I want to do it. I know not everybody will be interested in it, but the poll did win. People are interested in March Madness. First off, while I have you guys here, the people that are interested in March Madness, if you're not, totally understand. No harm, no foul. People that are, I have a bracket challenge. So if you would like to join that on ESPN, I have a group. It's JKB Bracket Challenge. And you can put up to 3 brackets in there. And if you win, I might send you a little something. So you can join my free bracket challenge over on ESPN. It's right there. I do it every year, and we had a decent amount of people last year, but I'd love to get a bunch of people in there. So just do yourself a favor. If you have a bracket or whatever, you're interested in March Madness, just throw something in there. Throw a bracket in there or whatever. I got 3 my buddies in there, so I mean, the more the merrier, right? But if you do win, I'll probably send you something. I don't know what it'll be. Probably, maybe even some JE merch or something, but I'll send you something. You guys are going to hate every move we make, but we have new unis. That makes it better, right? Y'all forget about Ramsey already, right? Certain people would totally go with that. So I like New York more than I like California. New York's home to me. California, I like as a vacation spot, and I love the warm weather. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I prefer my suburban area of New York. Like, I live in the suburbs. I like it this way. I'm not a city guy. I don't want to live in the city. I almost moved to LA, but I decided not to because of the whole COVID thing. And now I'm glad I stayed. I've really carved out, a home here in New York. I actually really like it here. I used to hate it. I used to hate the state. I really did. And I'm not like a big fan of the leadership here, but it's homey and I like it. I like how I can just go out and, it's easy to park places. You got nice parking lots. It's becoming a little civic center. Got a nice movie theater. It's pretty badass. We have a bunch of different eateries and things like that. And I'm not far away from being able to go to any sort of concert because, we got arenas and stuff. The MVP arena is literally hosting March Madness. So I get to go to that. It's 20 minutes away from my house. Pay probably a little bit more. But the point is, I have a lot around here. Someday I'll probably move to Florida, but Well, I will say this. I'm not really a New Jersey person, but I will say this. I absolutely love going to New Jersey to see the Devils. I love going to those games. I love watching the Devils live. I love going to the Rock. I don't care if people are like, "Oh, Prudential isn't that big of a deal." To me, I enjoy it. It's also feels like homey to me. I don't know. I love it. Hoping to go there soon. We'll see what ends up happening. I got to see my boy Timo Meyer in the red and black and white, but Devils look good, man. I could definitely see myself going to a postseason Devils game. That would be pretty awesome. We lost. I know. We were talking about that earlier. Bummer. 3-14 with a third place schedule. I don't know. I think they can win more than that. I'm not saying they'll win a ton more, but I think they can win more than that. I am a Memphis State fan for 41 years. I dislike Kansas because I believe 2007 USOB. Jake, kidding for fun, man. My brother was the sports editor, West Memphis High School, Michael Cage, Keith Lee era. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I totally get it. I don't know why any Memphis fan would ever like Kansas, if I'm being honest. Now, to be honest, to be fair there, 2 number 1 seeds going at it. Kansas was doing very well in the first half. In the second half, even the second half, they weren't playing bad. And then they fell off, and then at the end, they had to come back. And it's kind of crazy, man. Kansas is weird. They're 2 championships with Bill Self. They had to come back from 10 down or whatever. Probably more than that. The UNC game. But let's be honest here, UNC was an 8 seed. So it's they shouldn't have even been there. But I mean, they played well, and they definitely deserve credit. But definitely glad Kansas got that win. And I honestly I can't wait to go through the bracket. Who do you guys have? Oh, we got a signing. We got a signing here. It is Obaniah Okoronkwo, former Ram. And he just signed with, it's taking forever to load. I can't even see. It's not telling me. It says Obadiah Okoronkwo 3 years, $22.5 million. Yeah, he got paid. I don't know what's going on though. Like I can't. It's not. So I follow Aaron Wilson. He does such a great job covering the NFL, and Wilson posted that, but I don't see anything like there. Like he left out the team. Oh, he signed out with the. He signed with the Browns. Okay. Yeah, we interviewed Daniel Hardy on DTR, and he's a fun guy to talk to. So yeah, I'm hoping the same thing. I'm hoping he becomes a really good player for the Rams. It was. I don't think that happens this year though, RV. I really don't see that. Thanks, PS. Yeah, since this is J Live, and you guys know I post topics because I have to make a title, right? And so I post titles, and then I talk about all sorts of stuff and whatnot if I want to. I'm just curious because I filled out like 5 brackets, right? And I'm just curious, who do you guys like in this tournament? Like, give me like your 4 teams, and they don't even have to be a Final Four. Just 4 teams that you like, that you think people are sleeping on, maybe, or you like them. You think they're going to go far. The cap did go up, yeah. Because I'll tell you right now, the last bracket I did, which is going to be my go-to bracket, I got San Diego State, Marquette, Texas, and Kansas. It's my latest go-to bracket. I like Creighton a lot too, but I got Kansas, Texas. I think they're the 2 best teams in the country. They have the most quad 1 wins. Arizona. So Arizona looks really good. I have them in a couple brackets, beating Creighton, beating San Diego State, beating Alabama, those teams. And I have a couple where they lose in the Sweet 16, Elite 8. So I could see them getting the Final Four. I could see them winning the thing. I think they got good size. They're a team that maybe they didn't get off to a great start, early on in the season, but I think they really turned it on. And just the guys that they lost going into the NBA last year, like to come back the way they have been, they don't have a lot of depth, but I think when you look at them, they're very efficient and they can shoot the 3. I think so too, Kareem, but we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. But that's the hope. I mean, I definitely want my team to win. Let's see here. Arizona State. So Arizona State, they're playing in the play-in game, right? They're playing against Nevada. I don't know, man. Nevada looks good. I wouldn't be surprised if Nevada upsets TCU if they get into the tournament. And then you have Texas, who I mean, Texas looks nasty. I think they bludgeon Colgate. Texas A&M is better than the 7th seed, and I hate that they got put there because I think Texas A&M could have had a nice run, but I think Texas is going to stop them. Then I think Texas is either going to play Iowa State or Xavier. I think they beat either, but I really like Xavier's squad this year. I like the experience they have, and then I think they're going to beat Houston. I think Houston's getting overrated. Here's the thing that's funny. So there are a lot of people out there that'll be like, well, Houston and all, here's the thing about Houston that people aren't talking about. All right. And I don't mean to trash Houston, but they're 1 seed over Kansas. Houston has a great record, but they play in the American Atlantic Conference, right? They're 31-3. They have the 98th best strength of schedule. Okay. They're 17-1 in the conference because the conference isn't very good. They're number 1 in BPI rank. They're among the top. Like Ken Palm rates them number 1. Here's my thing. Because when you take analytics and you look at it and you're like, okay, like, you know, points per possession, they kill it and they're great defensively and all that. They're playing against the AAC. And I'm not saying the AAC is terrible, but the AAC isn't the Big 12. It's not the Big 10 and it's not the SEC or the Pac 12. Okay. So just like, let's keep that. Let's be honest here. They're going to beat Northern Kentucky. They're probably going to beat Iowa or Auburn. And I think they beat Indiana or Drake or Kent State or Miami. So they have one of the easiest roads in the tournament to get to the Elite Eight. And I think they're going to lose to Texas because Texas has 14 quad one wins. For those of you who don't know what quadrant one are, a quadrant one like wins. I'm not trying to confuse you or anything, but essentially what quad one is that they're like good wins. So when you play a top 30 team, it takes in NET. So based on the rankings of teams, if you play a top 30 team at home, that's a quad one win. If you play a top 50 team on a neutral site, that's a quad one win. And if you play a top 75 team on the road, that's a quad one win. So that's how it works. Quad two would be 31 through 75 at home, 51 through 100 neutral, and then 76 through 135 on the road. Quad three, you're playing against teams that just aren't very good. Like typically speaking, quad three teams aren't going to be making the tournament. You might get a couple, but quad one are teams that are probably going to make the tournament. Quad two are teams that will make the tournament. Quad four, these are teams that won't see the tournament unless they win a conference tournament and they get lucky. So Kansas has 17 quad one wins. Texas has 14. Alabama has 13. Baylor has 11. In case you didn't know this, and this is why it's not just bias me with the Kansas thing in the background. I swear to you, Kansas is the best team in the country. Now, will they show up? They lost to Texas. I know people are out on them because they lost to Texas in the Big 12 title game, forgetting the fact that Kevin McCullough's playing injured and Bill Self was in the hospital, their coach. And if you don't think a coach matters in basketball, it does. Here's the fun thing. In quadrant one wins since 2019, Virginia was the number one team. They had the most quad one wins in 2019. They won the title. In 2020, Kansas had the most quad one wins, and they were number one in the AP, and they canceled the season due to COVID. I won't get into that. They were basically the best team that year and should have won the title. At least Mark Emmert should have put together a plan for the NCAA title, the year with the COVID year, to have it so you could easily have a 4 or 8 or 12 team playoff. But nope, we can't have 68, so we're not going to have anybody be a title holder. That was great. And then Baylor was number one in quad one wins in 2021, and they won the title. And then Kansas last year had the most quad one wins, and they won the championship. And Kansas this year has the most quad one. So basically, except for 2020, when Kansas was screwed over by COVID, every team since 2019 has won the championship that has had the most quad one wins in college basketball. And so Kansas, once again, has the most. They've had the most 3 of the last 4 years. And, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. Let's see. Oh, sorry, you said Alabama. Alabama has the third most, and Kansas has the most. So, yeah, I'm with you. Alabama's going to have a tough road here because unlike Houston that gets this easy road, Alabama has to play West Virginia in all likelihood against Maryland. They're going to have to play San Diego State or Virginia. They're going to have to play Creighton or Baylor or Arizona. or maybe even Utah State. Don't sleep on Utah State. They're a good 10 seed if you want to pick an upset. If you're looking for an upset, Utah State against Mizzou. That'd be a good upset pick. Let's see. It's a tall can. Go, Jake. Yeah, I guess I never have these, do I? I always have like a nice beer glass or like a bottle. I never have these like tall boys, but I don't know. Let's see. I'm with you on that. Rams making me drink too. So Duke, hate the team. I'm not a Duke fan, but I am transparent and I am unbiased. And Duke is fascinating to me. So I don't know what's in my eye, so this is kind of annoying, but work with me here. So Duke has the 5 seed. They're playing against Oral Roberts here in Albany. And I'll tell you right now, everyone is going to pick Oral Roberts to win. Because they went to what? The Elite 8 or Sweet 16? I think it was the Elite 8. No, they went to the Sweet 16 as the 15 seed. So Oral Roberts went to the Sweet 16 as the 15 seed 2 years ago, right? They crushed brackets. And this year they're 30-4. So it's that team, but they're more experienced. But here's the thing, okay? I do always go about, I do like going towards experience. They were undefeated in their conference. They score 84 points a game. But the thing about Oral Roberts is that while they are 30-4, they're a team that's getting overvalued. They're overhyped. And Duke is playing their best basketball against good competition in the ACC. So as much as I don't like Duke, you know, they're very good at rebounding on the offensive glass. I mean, you look at Lively and Filipowski. I mean, they're annoying, or Filipowski's annoying. But, you know, Duke is a good team. I mean, they weren't a good team a while ago, but now they're starting to come into their own. They have really good talent. They have a chance to upset Tennessee, which isn't a huge upset, 5 versus a 4. But I think they're going to be a sexy pick to well, if there are people that don't pick Oral Roberts, then I wouldn't be surprised if there are people that pick Duke over Purdue in that Sweet 16 matchup. And then does Duke get back to the Final Four? That I don't know. But I don't know. I think this is going to be the 5-12. I think people fall in love with Oral Roberts, but I'm just telling you right now, don't sleep on that Duke team. They're playing really good basketball at the right time. That's what it takes to win in March sometimes. So, yeah, you said Duke. I think Duke is looking pretty good right now. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of people that pick Oral Roberts. They're going to see them and they're going to remember. It's going to be like a emotionally charged decision where they're like, well, I remember when Oral Roberts was the 15 seed and they went. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, I'm not falling for that. If they win, I'll be fine with it. I'll be happy. But I'm not buying into it. USC. Okay, USC. Who have they got? They got Michigan State. I got Michigan State. Unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of Michigan State, but I do think they win the game. You know, they've had, you know, a tougher strength of schedule. They've won more top 25 games than USC. Unfortunately, yeah, I would probably go with Michigan State. Doesn't mean that a 10-7 is going to be that. Like USC could absolutely win. Okay, I'm just thinking that's going to be Michigan State. You're actually excited for the rebuild? Yeah, too bad they don't have a first rounder. It's annoying. Jake, I never got to ask you what are your thoughts on Jim Boeheim retiring. Yeah, I think it's about time. You know, all good things must come to an end, and Jim Boeheim is a good coach, but you know, I think Syracuse needed to move on, and so him retiring definitely allows Syracuse to move on and get back to where they're used to being. Right, they're a team that anytime they're seeded, whether it's an 11 seed or a 2 seed or whatever, like anytime they're on a bracket, you have to pay attention because they're always an interesting play to go to the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight or maybe even the Final Four. But I just think it got to the point where it was like that wasn't really in the cards. It's probably one of the worst Syracuse teams, so they could be rebuilding. And I think no Boeheim doesn't mean that they don't come back next year and make the tournament. I'll say that right now. So that's my thoughts. Aaron, I'm assuming you said no because it's been a minute, but I'm assuming you said no when I said Utah State will beat Missouri. Am I correct? Oh, Lord. I had to take a sip just because I read that. I nailed it. See, I know my viewers. I know you guys. That is where I'm at. I'm not excited for a rebuild. I don't think we should be rebuilding. I think they probably should have done some restructures in my personal opinion, but whatever. There's no point of having Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford on the roster if you're just going to waste a year of their career. It doesn't make sense. It does make sense because it's a political play, because they know if they were to just completely blow it up, now they can't call it a remodel. It is a rebuild. I mean, it is a rebuild, let's be honest, but they can't call it a remodel anymore. And furthermore, are you going to go to the games if Aaron Donald and Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp aren't there anymore? No, you're not. So it's a political stunt. I mean, they're playing politics. That's what it is. They're playing. It's all about the face value. It's about how it looks to the fans. But in reality, they're 100% rebuilding. And furthermore, they're keeping these guys. They're wasting years. They're wasting an entire year of their career just so they can save face. I mean, I don't know. Santa Monica College going all the way this year. So UC Santa Barbara is actually kind of interesting me because I don't know. I'm not like totally sold on Baylor. I know they have a lot of quad one wins, but I just don't feel like they've been consistent. UC Santa Barbara has they have a lot of like in the in those what am I looking for? Analytics. UC Santa Barbara grades out pretty good in that, especially like offensive efficiency. So I don't know. Interesting 3-14 upset. Have you guys looked at the bracket at all? Like really dove in? Is there like one that you feel like you need to go over? Is there a matchup you'd like me to go over? Also, if you haven't already, be sure to join the bracket challenge. It's absolutely free on ESPN. Winner will get something. I don't know what it'll be, but they'll get something. Let's see. Anything new? Any updates? Where is it? Okay, it doesn't look like there's anything new. I thought there was another signing, but yeah. I agree. And I think we've gotten to the point where like Kansas can still win even when they don't play their best quality basketball. They've won games like that, but yeah, theoretically you want them to play their best if you want the best path to win. And I mean, they're a team that's won games where they've turned the ball over a lot. They've gotten foul trouble. They've won games where they had to go to an overtime with 3 guys that were done for the game, fouled out. They've won a game where they had to come back from like 20 at halftime. I mean, they win all sorts of ways. What I think is what's going on with Self, they're being very tight-lipped about that. They're being very close to the vest about what's going on with Self. We don't know if he'll be back for the tournament. I mean, they play Thursday against Howard, which, by the way, that's not an easy draw. Howard's a 16 seed. but Howard can light it up from 3. I just think at the end of the day, Howard's going to have a hard time keeping up with Kansas in the second half. But they force turnovers. They make a lot of threes. They play high risk, high reward basketball. It's just they haven't really played. They haven't really played anybody this year. And when they have, they've gotten eviscerated. I mean, they lost almost by 50 to Yale. So, yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. It was probably the tamest legal tampering period that I can remember as well. Pittsburgh and Mississippi State. Yeah, it's an interesting one there. As far as upsetting Iowa State's won a lot of really big games. Just looking at their quad 1 wins. I'm going to pull it up real quick. Yeah, it's let's see here. So we got, Iowa State has won the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're tied for 5th in quad 1 wins. So when you look at Mississippi State, they are 4-8 in quad 1. And when you look at Pitt, they are 4-4. I like Pitt in this game, personally. Let's see. I like Pitt in this game, and I think they're 77th on Ken Pom last time I checked. And then Mississippi State was 49th. Okay, all right. That's a little tough, actually. Mississippi State is ranked 49th, and Pittsburgh is 77th on Ken Pom's adjusted efficiency margin. So that is interesting, to say the least. Mississippi State is ranked ahead of Oral Roberts, VCU, NC State, Missouri, Drake, Arizona State, Kent State, Charleston, Iona, Pittsburgh, Furman, Louisiana, Santa Barbara. Yeah, crap. Okay. Where's Iowa State? Iowa State's ranked 23rd. Yeah, I don't think they're going to upset Iowa State. Adjusted offense. Where are they in adjusted offense? That's what I'd like to know. We got Pitt. Okay, so Pitt is 24th in adjusted offense. And then we have, you said Mississippi State. And Mississippi State is 164th. Okay. So then adjusted defense, Mississippi State. Yeah, Mississippi State kicks ass. They're 6th in adjusted defense. Pitt is not very defensive, apparently. They are 142nd. So Pitt is an offensive team. Mississippi State's a defensive team. Possessions per 40 minutes. Who gets more? Pitt is 174th in possessions per 40 minutes. And Mississippi State is 334. I'm going to go with Pitt. I think their defense is not, obviously Pitt's defense could be better. Mississippi State's defense is actually rated higher than Kansas, Iowa State, St. Mary's, San Diego State, and Texas. But I'm going to go with the offense here in Pitt. I think Pitt wins. They have the better quadrant 1 record. They're 4-4. Mississippi State's played, more games, of course, but they're 4-8. Mississippi State in quad 2 is 4-3, whereas Pitt is 3-5. Oh, okay. I'm not going to lie. This might be one of the most balanced games that I've seen. This is such a balanced draw. When you think about it, these teams are they're opposite of each other because one's a defensive team and one is an offensive team, but they're 21-12 versus a 22-11 team. Mississippi State is considered the higher seed. They're considered the home team. They're 2.5-point favorites. Where do we have them in the RPI? I'd like to see that. RPI rankings. Let's go. Okay, RPI, we got Mississippi. They're not even ranked? No, they are. 60th. Okay. 60th versus Pitt, which is... I'm going all out for you. Let's see. 67. Oh my God, dude, this is not easy. 67th Pitt, 60th Mississippi State. I'm leaning Pitt. That's kind of like where my gut is. What about BPI? And then I'll look at NET or net, whatever you want to call it. BPI, power. Okay, so power index. Who's playing the best basketball right now? That'll be the tiebreaker for me. We got... So Pitt... Where are they? They're 66th. Okay, and then you got Mississippi. They are 44th. Okay. All right. Let's see. Mississippi State. The last games that they played, they got, oh my Lord, they lost by 23 to Alabama. They barely beat Florida. They lost to Vanderbilt. They beat South Carolina. They beat Texas A&M. That's a good win. They lost to Mizzou. They beat Ole Miss. They lost to Kentucky. They beat Arkansas. They beat LSU. So they got off to a great start. Win for... They beat Marquette. So they won the first 5 games there. 6 games. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They went 11-0. And then they went on a 3-game losing streak to Tennessee, Alabama, and Drake. And then they beat Ole Miss, and then they went on another losing streak, a 5-game losing streak. They're a streaky team, but they have lost their streak, and they're on, technically they're on a losing streak. They lost to Alabama. I'm really trying to break this thing down. I don't know. I have this this urge to do it. All right, Pittsburgh. What do we got? ACC, right? So Pittsburgh, they lost to Duke. They got destroyed by Duke. So both teams got destroyed in their final game. They beat Georgia Tech. They lost to Miami by 2. They lost to Notre Dame. They beat Syracuse. They beat Georgia Tech again. They lost to Virginia Tech. They beat Boston College, Florida State. Miami they beat. They barely beat North Carolina. They lost to... I'm not going to lie. I've changed my mind. I've changed my mind here. I am going to go with Mississippi State, and I don't think they beat Iowa State. I think Mississippi State has a better resume, and I don't like Pittsburgh's resume. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I don't like Pittsburgh's resume. I'll go with Mississippi State. But I think that they're very close. I had to go to multiple things. So 22 points higher on the BPI, I think definitely helped. So that's where I have it. And just pick every Big 12 and most SEC. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, when you go through the Big 12, West Virginia and Maryland, I think West Virginia wins. I know everyone's going to go like, oh, Big 10. Yeah, Maryland, you could say what you will about them, but West Virginia beats them like in all sorts of different categories. So I'm not exactly going crazy for them. Where's Maryland on KenPom right now? Adjusted efficiency, West Virginia 17th, Maryland's 22nd, 35th in adjusted offense. The thing about West Virginia is they used to be called Press Virginia, and West Virginia doesn't really defend that well, which is kind of surprising because they were called Press Virginia. So yeah, I would take West Virginia over Maryland. The other Big 12 team, Baylor, better watch against UC Santa Barbara, but I think they win. Who else? Kansas State versus Montana State. I got Kansas State over that. Over them. Kansas over Howard. TCU over Nevada, but that's going to be a tough game. And then in the Midwest, I got Texas over Colgate. I have Iowa State over Mississippi State. And I think that's it for the Big 12. So they have a bunch of teams in there. And you said SEC. So Alabama over whoever is going to end up coming out of that, some 16 seed. Who else we got? I have Missouri losing to Utah State. Sorry, Aaron. Who else? Tennessee beating Louisiana. Kentucky beating Providence. And then, is that it? Arkansas beating Illinois. A&M beating Penn State. Yeah, that's it. Auburn, I have losing to Iowa. I think Iowa's offense is going to be too much for Auburn. So, yeah. I think, what was it? Andy Katz has Iowa going to the Elite Eight. I don't see that, but maybe they beat Houston. Who knows? I think they're overrated, so we'll see. Who got a 4-year deal? Are you talking about Matt Gay? Anything new? Any Oh, okay, gotcha. I see what you're saying. All right, cool. So yeah, it's Tuesday. Later today, I'll probably have some content out. I'm going to be watching some Edge Defenders before I go to bed and try to get some videos out on that. So since it's Tuesday, we're going to have some content in some capacity. Alexis and I are interviewing a running back prospect. Wednesday, probably have some, football content, but I do want to go through and do my bracket video live stream right before March Madness on Thursday. And then Thursday is going to be the Believe in Rams show with Cam and I. We're going to record that earlier in the day. It'll come out later. And then later that night, Alexis and I will do our second episode of a football show where we'll break down all of what happened with free agency. And then Friday, I'm going to 2 college basketball games for March Madness. And I might do a live stream when I get back. I might take some video and make a vlog. I don't know. But that's my week in a nutshell. So, guys, really appreciate you. You guys have been freaking awesome. Still over 100 people, and we're almost at 1. It's almost 1 o'clock here on the East Coast. It's over an hour and 30 mark here. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Be sure to also join the bracket challenge here. I have a free one on ESPN if you guys do any, if you're interested in brackets. I told you before, you may not have followed me or you may not have realized it, but I am very well versed in other sports. So while I'm very pro football and I talk about football, and that's kind of where I made a name for myself with football, especially with the Rams, I am going to talk about March Madness. I'm going to talk about different things. So always keeping it fresh. You guys know how it is. So yeah, click on that link. It'll send you right to my tournament challenge page. It's free. Join. If you win, I'll send you something. If you lose, no harm, no foul. But that's going to do it. So We'll pick this March Madness thing up on Wednesday. I'll go through each part of the bracket. I'll go through each game. We'll break it down. So if you guys are interested in that, hope to see you there. And yeah, we'll have other stuff out as well. But I'll see you guys soon. Thanks so much for chiming in, joining in. Appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you guys. It's tomorrow already, so I guess I'll see you guys in a little bit or in a while. I don't know. One of those things. Take it easy, folks. Later. You ever get those ridiculous social media scams where people pretend to be somebody you're friends with and tell you can make a lot of money? I know I do. It's why I'm very excited to partner with today's sponsor, Aura. Aura is an easy-to-use app that essentially packages a bunch of services to stay safe online all in one. Aura protects you from scammers and hackers. They scan the web for all sorts of data leaks and alert you as soon as they find anything. Aura is like the offensive line for a quarterback, consistently offering you protection from suspicious and malicious activity. They have a VPN built in that keeps your browsing history and personal information safe and encrypted. They'll even alert you if someone's trying to open up a credit card or a loan in your name. Did I mention they protect all your devices from viruses, malware, spyware, and any other things so the bad guys can't break in? Aura can even manage what your kids do on their devices. You can set limits and restrict them from specific apps. They have a password manager as well, so you don't have to rely on an outdated Rolodex or that sticky note that's been on your desk forever. There are apps that do all of these things, but there isn't one that tackles everything the way Aura does, which is why I say Aura is a 5-man offensive line and you're the quarterback. So head on over to aura.com/JKB. You can find it in the description and start your free trial today.